let's talk about resource guarding. Resource guarding is a label that we use to describe a set of behaviors that a dog displays around a resource that they would rather not lose. But honestly, when we think about resource guarding, we tend to have a very narrow perception of what that is. And I find that that can really throw off my clients until they have a better understanding of what resource guarding behavior can look like. So resource guarding behavior can actually be really subtle. Remember, this is just behavior that tips us off to the fact that the dog is worried about losing this resource. So that can be something as simple as weight shifting around their bowl, just sort of taking little steps to the side and all the way around. It can look like pausing while they drink or eat or chew or play. It can look like moving away with the toy when you try to get it from them. That's resource guarding. Resource guarding can also be about anything the dog considers a resource. The more traditional things that we think about are things like food, chews, toys. It could also be treats. I have worked with dogs who will resource guard smells. It can be spaces. It can be people. It can be items that they steal. Some dogs will guard their own vomit. And there's not necessarily a hierarchy to this. And what I mean by that is that some people are thrown off that their dog will guard like their vomit, but won't guard their food bowl. And I actually do see a lot that dogs will be guarding something else, but they don't guard during mealtime. Of course, there are a lot of dogs who do guard during mealtime, and we should be leaving our dogs alone and allowing them to enjoy their meals in peace without bothering them or without allowing them to be bothered by other pets in the home. But I think part of that is that sometimes there is predictability around mealtime where there may be less predictability around some of the other resources. And so for some dogs, they don't feel the need to guard during their meals, but they may feel the need to guard in other circumstances. I think it's also important that we consider what emotions might be underlying the resource guarding. We tend to think of it mostly as fear that the resource will be taken, and I think that's certainly true. But we also know that humans report feeling a wide range of emotions that overlap with emotions we know dogs can feel when humans are burgled or robbed. And that includes feelings of depression, hopelessness, anger, frustration, and fear. Many report feeling helpless, a lack of control. And we know that a belief in our control over the environment is paramount to well-being. So dogs who are in a perpetual state of feeling like their things are being taken from them or at risk of being taken from them might chronically be experiencing some of these emotions. Another thing that can be confusing is that there are a lot of variables that matter in resource guarding, and this shows up when we start to break down the work that we want to do towards resolving the resource guarding, because we have to break the criteria down into tiny, tiny pieces, and a professional's job is to help break those criteria down into pieces smaller than you even thought possible. But what this can look like on the surface is the dog will guard this resource in some scenarios and may not guard the same resource in other scenarios, and that can be confusing. So some of those variables include who is approaching the dog, or who in the dog's mind is going to be a threat to the item. A known person might not be as much of a threat as a stranger person or dog or other animal, or it might be the opposite. We might be more likely to see resource guarding behavior around known people versus unknown. There are other variables that matter too, though, that we might not be as aware of, like angle of approach, intensity of approach, direction of approach, how long the dog has had the item. Sometimes the more invested in the chew they are, the more likely they are to guard it. The novelty of the item. Some dogs will guard things when they're brand new, and then once the novelty has worn off, they're like, oh, thank you, yes, I don't get quite as much anymore. We can help prevent resource guarding from forming by ensuring that our dog doesn't feel like they have to worry about their resources being taken. That can mean if you do have to take something from them, always trading for a higher value thing. We definitely don't want to be doing things like sticking our hands in their food bowl to get them used to it. Imagine if someone just came up and started touching your plate while you were eating to get you used to people touching your plate. That's probably not how that would play out. You would probably start getting actually really annoyed about this person touching your food, and you would probably end up saying something about it. We can allow our dogs to enjoy their resources separate from the other dogs. Don't let other dogs come up and steal their items. Remember, this is not a power play. Humans resource guard all the time. We have locks and cameras. Humans are huge resource guarders. So hopefully we can extend some empathy to our dogs.